Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are doing having a halfway decent week so far. We know, of course, the two finalists, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about them. I'd kind of like to make a little bit of a prediction to who I think ends up winning the Stanley Cup. But before I do that, if you are new to the channel, or if you're new to hockey in general, I'm very glad that you're here. Hopefully, you enjoy the videos, and especially if you're new to hockey, and you love it like I do, it'd be absolutely awesome if you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell if you want to be notified anytime a future video is uploaded. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So, we're just a couple days away from Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And we're going to be crowning a new champion. One team, one of these teams, is going to win the Stanley Cup for the first time. And I wanted to talk a little bit about them, a little bit more about each team, and make my prediction of who wins and in how many games. The first team I would talk about, of course, we'll start out west with Vegas. The Vegas Golden Knights, they finished number one in the West. I don't think a lot of people really looked at them and thought that they were really a true threat, especially when they ended up playing Edmonton, because I didn't have them getting past the second round. I had them losing in the second round to Edmonton. Obviously, I was wrong on that one. But Vegas is they're a damn good team. They got a lot of talent, and I think in a lot of ways they are going to be favored in this final. Where in 2017 they weren't exactly favored, because it was their first year, and nobody thought they'd win it, but they got there. And Vegas this time around is going to be a favorite, I think. Now, their first round matchup, they took out Winnipeg in 5 games, relatively easily. At least in my opinion. They took them out relatively, without any issue. Even though they lost game 1. Yeah, they lost that game 1, but just like the last time they played them in the playoffs, they then rolled them 4 straight. So that got them into the divisional final, where they played the Edmonton Oilers, and goaltending was better. Just Vegas did a lot of other things better than the Oilers, and they beat the Oilers in 6. And then they advanced to the conference final, where they took out Dallas in 6. But honestly, I think it could have been in 4. Honestly, because Vegas just they owned the Dallas Stars in that series. The 4 wins that they had were just dominating wins. So that's how Vegas gets to the final. And yeah, they're without a doubt probably gonna be favored. At least I would have them favored. But now we move to the East and we look at the Florida Panthers and this run that the Panthers have had. It's been incredible. Being down 3, not only basically having to scratch and claw just to even get in the playoffs, making the playoffs by 1 point because the Pittsburgh Penguins didn't know how to beat the Chicago Blackhawks in one of the last games of the season. That is what helped Florida clinch that playoff spot. Because if the Penguins win that game against Chicago, Florida's not in the playoffs. The Panthers aren't. We're not talking about the Florida Panthers. We're talking about the Panthers and how, this team needs to get blown up and the general manager maybe needs to get fired. that's where this would be with the Florida Panthers if they would not have made the playoffs a year after winning the President's Trophy. But they got in. They got in, and look what they've done. They came back from 3-1 down against the statistically greatest regular season team of all time in the Boston Bruins. They came back from 3-1 down to win that series. Then they go against Toronto, and they basically ran the show. I mean, they ran Toronto's show. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it just I couldn't believe it. I really could not believe that Florida just ran Toronto like they did, but they did, and they beat them in 5. And that got them into the conference final, and then in the Eastern final, they play Carolina, and I'm thinking, this is going to be a great series. The first game goes to 4 overtimes, just 12 seconds away from a 5th overtime, and Florida wins that. And I thought whoever won that game will have the advantage in the series, not just by the game, but I thought, that's going to be the big boost for whoever. I mean, if Carolina wins that game, we might be having a Vegas Golden Knight Carolina Hurricane final. So that's kind of where, that's how important that 4 overtime game was. But Florida won it. They then won game 2 in overtime also, and they know how to do overtime. And then, they end up sweeping Carolina 4-0, and it puts them in the final. And it's just, what a run it's been for the Panthers. So you're going to have a team, one of these two teams is going to win their first ever Stanley Cup. Now, my prediction, I've enjoyed this run. I have really enjoyed this run for the Carolina. I almost said the Carolina Panthers again. The Florida Panthers, not Carolina Panthers. That's NFL. But this run that the Florida Panthers on, I think it continues. I think the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup. They win it in 6 games. And as great as Vegas has been, Vegas is going to have, it's not going to be easy for Vegas to stop these guys. I mean, these Florida Panthers are, they're on a roll. They've had time off, which, could mean they're maybe a little bit rusty come game 1, because they will have literally had over a week off since, sweeping Carolina. But I think after the first period, unless they're down unless they're down 3-4-5-0 after the first period in game 1, I think once that first period gets going, that ring rust, now we're going wrestling. That rink rust will be gone, and I think it will be pretty cool. Sorry about that. Nothing like a kid comes storming down here. But yeah, I think Florida wins the Stanley Cup. I think they do it in 6 games. And another classic Cinderella type story, kind of like the 2012 LA Kings. This is a team that just they're on a roll. I think once they get out of that first period in game 1, if they do have a little bit of rink rust, I think that's all gone after the first period. They'll get back into the swing of things, and I think this is a special type of team right now. They vastly underachieved last year, or vastly underachieved this year after last year, and I think they do what look at what Tampa did. Tampa won the President's Trophy in 2019. They got dummied in the first round. Everybody laughed at them after they had won 62 games. Everybody kind of laughed at them. What did Tampa do from there? They didn't win the President's Trophy in 2020 or 2021. They kind of underachieved. But what did they do in 2020 and 2021? They won back-to-back Stanley Cups. So I think Florida gets the job done. I think they do it in 6 games. And I mean, again, if Vegas wins, I won't be heartbroken if Vegas wins, but I think Florida's, this run that Florida's on is something special, and I think it ends with the Florida Panthers holding the Stanley Cup over their head and becoming the 3rd Florida team in 4 years to win the Stanley Cup. Interesting thing, it wouldn't be the Tampa Bay Lightning. Something about Florida. There's something good going on down there, and I think the Panthers win the series in 6 games, and yeah, I look forward to the final. I look forward to when it starts. I definitely am going to have it on DVRing, and yeah, I look forward to it. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys think wins the Stanley Cup? Do you have Florida? Do you got Vegas? I'd love to know what you guys think. Who wins? How many games do you think it goes? Like I said, I'm predicting Florida in 6. I'd love to know what you guys think. Again, it'd be awesome. Hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell if you want to be notified of any future videos that are uploaded. And again, if you're new to the sport of hockey and you have any type of questions about anything, don't be afraid to ask. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Who wins? How many games? Hit like and subscribe if you have not done it yet already. And I will see you guys later.